right, so we're in our fruiter forest. This is our cellar. This is our main oak cellar. So we've got over 19 oak fruiters here, a little over 1,800 barrels in fruiter capacity, so about 2,200 hectoliters. Behind me are some French oak fruiters, all along the wall, all behind me. These all aged wine before they aged beer. So these large guys to the right, they aged Chardonnay in a cave for about 20 years. They were just encased in tartrate crystals. They looked pretty wild, looked like a Martian landscape, but they tasted amazing. They smelled amazing. So the first couple of beers that come out, they had a strong white wine flavor. These held red wine. They were primary red wine fermenters up in St. Helena. I can't name the winery, but they make great cab. The smaller ones, same thing, winery from France. And then behind me is an American fruiter. These are made in Missouri. These are made from American oak. This is from Fruiter Crafters. And you can see we have a few behind that that are also Fruiter Crafters. And the American oak is nice because it's very soft. It's got like a little bit of vanilla, some of the toasted notes. It's very complementary to acid. It kind of softens acid. So while these are fairly neutral at this point, they don't impart a lot of flavor. They're just a great vessel for the microbes to do their jobs. The American oak is still imparting a small amount of sweetness, like a false sweetness, kind of vanilla. And it comes from the wood. Vanillin is that flavor. And so we do fruiter lagers first when we make them. The fruiters over to the left, currently 2 of them have lagers in them. One of those is a collab with New Belgium, working on a beer. An Adam beer, lager aged in oak, going to be blended with some mixed firm, dark sour, pretty groovy. And then we have our Fruiter Friends 3, which is the third time we've done this, but it's a mega collab where I invite like 9 of my favorite breweries in the country, and then they all get to meet each other, and we all hang out, and now they're friends. And it's all based around lagers, so we get together, we make a lager, and that's aging right now, a Helles in one of those fruiters. So some flavor to play from the wood. The real big benefit though is the size. It's the volume, surface area to volume ratio. So the bigger the barrel, the less oxygen that kind of gets in. And while that slows down its aging, it's a lot more forgiving in terms of production of like acetic or maybe undesirable flavors. I'm really striving for low acid, very soft acidity, no acetic, and mild funk. That's sort of the goal here. So here we have Fruiter Friends 3. This is the lager I was telling you about, the Helles that we brewed with 9 of some of our friends, other breweries from all around the country. And it's using all Admiral malt from next door with some Colorado malt, Troubadour malting, and it has been lagering now for about 2.5 months in this 50-barrel oak vessel. Yeah, so nice and soft, a little sweet, and it should have a little bit of creamy kind of vanilla from the oak, softer from the oak going on. Cheers, salud.
Salud.
Perfect. So this is the R&D Pale Ale on the board. So this is Simcoe and Eldorado. This is a beer that we're working on that we're going to release this summer. I won't tell you the secret name, but it has a different name when we release it. But it is a research beer we're working on. The second beer is our Märzen. So we brewed this at the beginning of March and releasing it now. It is made with all German malts, a little bit of Admiral Pilsner from next door. Very rich, a lot of notes of higher toffees and caramels, but still very light and dry. Nice ruby color as well. And good foam retention, something we work hard for as well. Nice foam. This is our Black Magic. It is a Black Nipa. It was inspired by coming down to Argentina and trying these beers down there and seeing that it was a cool take on a style that I wanted to replicate here. So this is a collab with our friends Brewing with Brothers. They're trying to open a brewery down in Palo Alto. So very tropical inspired, lots of cantaloupe, lots of coconut, lots of pineapple, but all from hops and fermentation. Almost black as the night. Very, very dark, big coconut smell, and just a touch of malt. But really, if you close your eyes, you wouldn't know it's this dark. So, very cool beer that we make. Salud. Okay, so this is Love. This is our flagship beer. We brew this 50% of the time. This is the beer we're brewing every week of the year. It is a hazy Nipa. It is Citra, Mosaic, Sabro is the main characters. So the Sabro is leading that almost tropical kind of coconut vibe. The Citra's leaning higher than the passion fruit orange, and then the Mosaic is there just to make everything extra tropical and kind of dank. It's hazy, but it's not thick. It's dry, but it's not bitter. It's really designed to be balanced. It's a great accompaniment for food. Cuts through fat really well, and again, nice and light, so it's refreshing. But this is our #1 beer that we make, and cheers. We have Apricot Sour Nova. Apricot Sour Nova for us is a mixed fermentation beer. It takes about 3 to 6 months. It is the same house culture we've been using for almost 8 years now. It's all California apricots. This is a beer that's really special to us because it's a true mixed ferm beer. It's the first beer we put in cans, so very, very unique at the time is to put sour beer in cans and naturally carbonate things. It's you can see it's prismatic, translucent, very, very clean, but rich, really deep, jammy apricot flavor, and tart, but not too tart ever. Real balanced, real soft. This beer and the rest of the Sour Nova series are really designed for people that are into sour beer, but also folks that maybe never had a sour beer. I'm intentionally trying to make it reserved in acidity so that it's more approachable to a wider audience. Cheers. So the last beer we have on, and I kind of picked this range to kind of show some of the styles that we can do, is also a collab with our homies Brewing with Brothers down in Palo Alto. This is a Belgian Black Triple, so very, very dark, not a lot of roast, very, very true to Belgian Triple, but again, kind of a cool mind twist to see it so colored, so dark and so rich. So beautiful label designed by Damien, the co-founder here. Kind of an homage back to the original plum that we did 10 years ago that we talked about earlier. Definitely a throwback to our original farm to barrel labels. But this is all plums from California, from Blossom Bluff. Again, that farm we talked about, we've been working with for almost 10 years now. And then aged for up to almost 3 years. So a portion of this was aged for 3 years that we blended some 3, some 2, some 1-year-old, and a little bit of young just to carbonate it. So kind of our grand crew for 2021. this is West Coast Micro IPA. Micro because it's small, but not in flavor. So this is Bone Crusher. It's a collab with Boneyard Brewing up in Bend. They're big, I've looked up to them for years for brewing. They were a big inspiration early on for West Coast style beer, so this is really cool to do full circle a beer with them. The label's done by Almanac, by Damien, our co-founder, and it's just a very small in ABV but big in flavor IPA. So we have this is our Rum Barrel Ghost. So our barrel aged stout we call Universal Ghost. So this is the rum barrel aged version of it. It's aged in a variety of different rum barrels from the Caribbean. Some of them are agricole, some of them are molasses. So it's got a nice balance between the two. And then a half of it is aged in apple brandy barrels again. So you get a lot of green caramel apple candy on top of that rum. It's a beer that we boil for about 4 hours. Try to make it as thick as possible. One of the biggest beers we make. Very rich, lots of chocolate malt. A lot of pale chocolate malt in particular. But boiled for forever. A lot of reduction, so very, very thick. But not too sweet. Again, you know, really inspired by I think some of the best barrel-aged beers like Firestone Walker does. Where there's an intense amount of malt flavor without being cloying, and that's sort of the goal here. Is certainly very sweet and big, but never cloying. Cheers.